D.I.V.O.R.C.E. Hi! Keeping with the theme that we've been having for the past couple of weeks, relationships and all that, divorce. The idea of divorce gets a pretty bad rap. I mean, when people rattle off statistics about divorce rates, 50% in America or whatever it is, there's always this negative connotation to it. Ruining the sanctity of marriage, I guess, or whatever it is. And I suppose that's appropriate to some extent. It's not just a regular breakup, obviously. It's literally a sacred bond being broken. Whether you're religious or not, you do make that oath, part of which is also legal in nature, and you do sign papers to make it happen. And there's sometimes even huge sums of money and property and chattel involved. And children even, if you'd managed to breed by that point. Most of all, we have this deep-seated idea that marriage should be forever. That when two people make that commitment, they really are swearing to stick by each other until they die. And when that ends up not happening, there's this huge sense of betrayal involved. Even if by that time you already hate each other. And the thing is that I do actually like the idea of it. Going back on the idea from the last couple of weeks, the ideal relationship is two people in a partnership growing together and making each other better, right? Well, nothing in that really implies that partnership needs to be forever. I just think that sometimes a couple may reach a point where they've gotten all they can from each other and the relationship needs to meet its natural end. And when you get there, when your partner is no longer the person who you need, or if you're no longer growing together, or when you get to a point where the relationship and the trust that you've built up has been damaged beyond repair for one reason or other, and rather than sticking together and hoping for a death or a miracle or both, it would be just far better just to let go. Divorce as it is in modern times is a recognition of this reality, because we realize now that pairing people up at random or getting them to stay together for money or honor or some other thing that isn't real love, we should all realize by now that that's bullshit. Sticking with a situation that you know isn't going to improve but hoping anyway for a magical outcome is the very definition of stupidity. And I don't really buy the whole stay together for the kids thing. I mean, yes, there are a lot of people out there who are fucked up because of their abandonment issues or whatever. Believe it or not, there's actually a way to handle that properly. Contrary to popular belief, it isn't actually that hard to explain to your kids that they're loved, and that it's not their fault, and that you would rather separate than throw them in the middle of a constant war zone. Kids are actually fairly resilient creatures, and you should really trust that they're willing to understand if you give them a chance. Of course, there is the fact that having divorce as an option kind of changes the dynamic a little bit, because humans are the way that we are, and I guess not having the option forces us to work with what we have. And on the one hand, that could lead to, firstly, people actually taking their commitment seriously, and second, not giving up just because shit got hard. On the other hand, if you're in a shitty situation and you start to rationalize and work with what you have and just, how do you say, love the one you're with, isn't that called Stockholm Syndrome? Though I guess the problem here is that I'm falsely assuming that people are first and foremost rational beings. I don't think I've actually ever heard of a couple who got divorced on perfectly amicable terms. The signs could have been obvious for a while that it was the only thing that could happen, and it could have literally been the only choice, and one or both people are still going to get hurt. Because you can break apart a legal agreement just fine, and religion can go fairly deep, but it's not like anybody's a stranger to sin. But love itself, even if it's been reduced to a mere memory, it's just never going to be easy to let that go.